We're back in Whittier, California. So today I'm out here in Whittier, California to talk and meet with two incredible visionaries and show you some of their work. Inside this ordinary looking warehouse behind me is actually a tropical paradise founded by two men, LeRoy Schmaltz and Bob Van Oosting. It's called Oceanic Arts, and it is the Mecca, the Holy Land of Tiki. During World War II, many of our servicemen were stationed out in the Pacific on tropical islands like Hawaii. Returning home, they kicked off the backyard luau craze, having a little slice of tropical heaven right in their own backyards. By the late 1950s, Hawaii was just about to become a state, and the Tiki craze started to really spread across America. All things Polynesian were becoming popular. All kinds of movies, television shows, magazine spreads, travel ads. It was really kicking off. Around this time, Bob Van Oosting and LeRoy Schmaltz met each other.
He said he was carving some palm prawn masks. And so we got together and looked at them, and they're beautiful. You know, they're all carved out of palm prawns and finished off nicely. And so what we did is, thought, well, maybe we could sell them.
Palm prawn mask I did. Could be African or anything, you know, they were just kind of native looking. We probably didn't really have a thought about Polynesia per se. Wasn't that aware of it.
They come out of the Rose Hills Memorial Park, and this big, tall Englishman, probably about 6'4", was bent over, and in front of the big green barn, he was bent over, kind of chiseling out a tiki. So LeRoy and I, a few days later, went down to see him, and we just finally ended up carving for him.
We then got inspired.
By 1956, Robert Van Oosting and LeRoy Schmaltz decided to go out on their own and start their own business. After a few years of learning the trade, Bob and LeRoy decided what they really needed to do was go to the Polynesian islands themselves and learn about the authentic culture.
Most of the people that we had been involved with in the business were probably like carvers and things, where guys were just hippies, probably had no knowledge, particularly of the Southern pictures, the movie South Pacific or something, and went from there. So we thought, well, we'd be a little notch above the rest of the crowd.
We saw a lot of opportunity over there, and we created the name Oceanic Arts so that we could go to any country that was an ocean touched, you know, and charge it off to the business, so to speak.
Mortgaging Bob's Corvette and borrowing money and interest, the two set out for a tour of the islands.
It was 37,000 miles, 3.5-month trip.
Seeing the natives at work and taking hundreds of photographs, Bob and LeRoy established an authentic connection to Polynesia, and it was reflected in LeRoy's carvings.
We try to stay authentic in our design, so we take some things, design ideas from the South Seas authentic types, where a lot of other people, like if I see the tikis in the background, most of them are just carved in Bali, but most of them are just imagined, you know.
They respect us a little bit because we knew something about the culture and the ideas, the designs, and so on. So it helped us.
Along with another company in Glendale called Sea and Jungle, Bob and LeRoy's business, Oceanic Arts, began to dominate all things exotic. For well over 50 years, they've been supplying props, background, original art pieces to movies, television productions, photo shoots, backyard parties. If it's tropical, odds are Bob and LeRoy had a hand in it. And let's not forget the heyday of the Tiki Bar. Tiki bars began to spring up all over the country, and Oceanic Arts supplied much of the decor. It's not just tiki stuff at Oceanic Arts, they have all kinds of tropical decor. Bamboo frames, prints, turtle.
You go to a Polynesian restaurant, it's all nice and cool inside, and the waterfalls, and you feel like like you're in Eden. So that's kind of the effect we've added too.
One amazing thing Oceanic Arts does is rent out props to the film industry, of course, but they also rent out props to the general public. You can come in here and actually rent one of these huge tikis for your party for only like 20 bucks a day. It's pretty awesome. Snooky? These rentals come in several sizes. Big, really big, huge, and ginormous mother-in-law size. Skulls, bamboo, thatching, tiki bars. That whole section right there, that's all just tiki bars. So you like tikis, huh? I'm a fan of tikis. Look at this. You see this canoe? It's a punch bowl. A punch bowl. Imagine how much punch you could fit in here. An incredible amount of punch. There's more thatching here than there was in Britain in the 80s. Just think, where else in the world could you rent a grass hut? Huh? Treasure. They have treasure here. I can't get the treasure These guys have had a crazy ride over the last 50 or 60 years of doing this. And Oceanic Arts is now housed inside this huge, otherwise nondescript warehouse in Whittier. But in addition to all of this stuff, they actually have more warehouses full of even more stuff that they rent out to the film industry.
We supply movies with rentals and also props, and we sell them products. We had done some for Walt Disney, a few of them like Aloha Cowboy, so forth. But then when Sea and Jungle closed, we bought a lot of their things, and they gave us all their books and said, you ought to go into the movie business. That helped a lot because they got out and we got in. We're kind of like the Home Depot of Tropical Decor, you know.
Set work for everything from Mad Men to Pearl Harbor to even the live action sequences of SpongeBob SquarePants have been supplied by Oceanic Arts. Celebrities like Paul Rubens and The Rock come here to get all their tiki decor for their backyards or for their playhouse. And why wouldn't they? Look at all this stuff. You know Trader Joe's, the grocery stores? All those carved wooden signs, most of them have come from Oceanic Arts. It's a sign. A big part of the success is that Bob is a business genius, which leaves LeRoy plenty of time to be coming up with all kinds of new crazy Polynesian art.
Well, he has a vision for business. It was a major in college and business theory and so forth. So that makes it easier because if you're a designer or artist, you can't stop and work on invoices and records and everything else. Pretty soon you don't know if you're coming or going.
Now we all know that Tiki didn't stay on top forever, but luckily LeRoy is such an adaptable artist that they were able to start doing all kinds of other stuff to stay afloat during the time when Tiki wasn't so popular in the United States.
We got involved for a while when it kind of got slow Polynesian into Mexican designs and the Spanish carvings, and we also got into a lot of wood sign carving. So there's a lot of signs around this area, and churches and cities and so forth that have our sign work.
When it got slow here, we did a lot of work overseas. Like we did the Tikis for Japan. We worked months on that. You know, then we did the Polynesian Village Hotel for Disney, and that was a project for over a year, you know, just off and on.
No, they didn't build the Tiki Room at Disneyland, but LeRoy's carvings are featured all along the walkway into Adventureland. Not only that, but they actually built most of the decor for Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar at the Disneyland Resort now in Anaheim. On top of that, you crazy Disney fans, LeRoy also did all those Norway carvings at Epcot and all the stuff in Canada. He's done all kinds of work for the resorts, a Polynesian resort of course. So it's just amazing. Actually, there's one thing I gotta show you. While working on the Polynesian resort stuff, they actually had one sign that wasn't quite up to par, so it's been hanging in here ever since. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't see a mistake. Do you? For many years after Tiki was out of vogue, it was hard for people to consider it an art. It was considered more, commercial art at best. But these days, there's been a resurgence of everything mid-century modern and kind of everything Tiki. And more people are starting to appreciate the authentic art form that was what we now refer to as Tiki Pop.
It is an art style, but it's always been just a little confusing, because there's no real set standard or ideal. But we're seemingly it's becoming more of a authentic art style. So, there seems to be a current concept about mid-century modern presently.
There really isn't anything new as far as what we look at it from the modern authentic style. I mean,
we were doing the same stuff we were doing in the 60s anyhow, which is the mid-century. So we're really current with the concept that's going on anyhow. Maybe a little touch here and there. I've been doing some things, adding Picasso and Brock and a few other artists of the past mixed into my work.
LeRoy's work is now being featured at different galleries around the world. Slowly but surely, people are starting to recognize the insane contribution to pop culture and pop art that Oceanic Arts has contributed.
We are presently going to be in a show in France, Paris, France, and that show is somewhat going to authenticate Tiki pop culture as an art style.
Now, most of the Polynesian islands actually import work from Oceanic Arts. Look at all the incredible stuff they've got in here. Simple wooden masks, little tiny painted tiki. And if you're really in the mood to worship some Polynesian gods, you might consider one of these bad boys. Wow.
Quite a lot of restaurants, hotels, jobs in Tahiti, in Samoa, all throughout the South Seas, you know.
We had a tiki that we did that ended up in Tahiti that was almost 30 feet high. It's still there. We did it back in the 60s.
5.5 foot diameter and 5 tons of weight. We had to get a big sky crane to pick it up.
Line 1 amphibian, LeRoy, line 1.
God? While LeRoy's famous the world over for his unique tiki carving style, most people don't realize he also hand paints most of the stuff you see in here. Look at all the detail and the paintwork here. It's amazing! I've never been such a huge fan of wood.
First of all, he's a very good artist. That's probably the first thing. You know, he laid things on paper or just anyway. You know, he's known pretty much around the world. You know, we have people coming from Australia and says, well, I want to see Bob and LeRoy, you know, right away.
Many people don't know that he was actually a classically trained artist. He does a lot of paintings, mosaics, all kinds of stuff. In fact, some of his paintings are hanging up in here. This is one of his original paintings. Been hanging up here for a while. Incredible.
Mosaics to carvings to paintings to you name it, you know. He can probably have more.
As amazing as it is, let's actually take a break from the history for just a second and just take a look around this incredible place. Every nook and cranny is full of tiki stuff. Hard to get ahead in the jungle. It would be difficult to catalog even the rental items at Oceanic Arts. And next to impossible to show all of the unique items they offer for sale to the public. Bamboo poles, ceramic tiki mugs, tribal masks, tiki statues of every conceivable shape and size. Oh, and let's not forget all of those pufferfish. Regular or lighted, your choice of course. In addition to all the crazy stuff they make and supply here at Oceanic Arts, they also have a collection of authentic oceanic art as well as vintage tiki mugs. In recent years, these have really become hot collectible items and they've got tons of them. Back here are some of the many artifacts that LeRoy and Bob have collected over the years, some of which they actually brought back themselves from their voyage around the Polynesian islands in 1960. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Let me see if we can find Bob or LeRoy to tell us about it.
What they did is they put, like you die, they burn you up, they put all the bones in there, and they seal it with a, kind of like a native material, like not like a tar, but something like that. There's a human bone dagger, there's a femur bone. These are drums with python skins on them. And Bill, here's it's made out of bat wings, and what they do is that spirit, you see it, they come out, and they throw it in you, and then they pull it out and it rips your guts out. The corner's an old didgeridoo, and here's a shark's tooth lance, which what you do is you put it around your neck, and it cuts your head.
Ooh. Tiki. Oceanic Arts is still open to the public from about 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and it's amazing. I strongly encourage you, when you're in Southern California, to come by and visit this place. It's insane. It blows your mind. Bob, do you ever just get sick of tiki stuff and just want to go on vacation to Alaska or something?
Never.
I want to thank you guys for joining me today at this look at what I think is a national treasure and certainly a very important piece of pop art history.
Most of the earlier years, people would always say, when are you guys going to get a real job? You know, so.
And you never did.
So that's pretty much it.
I suddenly have the strongest urge to throw one of my relatives in a volcano. If you're a big fan of survivalist shows and stuff and you really want to go native, consider making a bed out of this fine nipa thatch. Comfy. Oceanic Arts is truly full of the rare and unusual, like me. Thatch, twine. Dunder Mifflin? People say we look alike. What do you think? Now this statue of the wild man of Borneo looks like an ancient relic. That's part of the skill they have here. But also, he's combined with a CD rack, which is itself an ancient relic. Kate Moss? Is that chimp hanging itself? Hi. Keep rowing. There's actually so much stuff in here, it just makes your brain want to explode. Where else can you rent a monkey for $35 and then buy that same monkey Come with me, monkey. Make sure you subscribe or one of these tiki gods will be angered. Visit our website at livefastandpoor.com or a shark might get ya. Pufferfish lamps. Now that is a lamp that you could really get attached to. Special thank you to everyone at Oceanic Arts. Well, I guess that's it. I'm going to spend several more hours here and probably max out all the credit cards. It's Tiki Overload. I better get out of here quick. Bye-bye. A grapefruit.
Tiki.